I've got a lot of explaining to do. Yo, what up homies, it's your boy. Before we get right in with this video, please be sure to go down below and hit the like button and go ahead and share this with any of your friends. That way if they watch my channel as well, they'll know what's been going on and it'll just get my name out there a little bit. But we have a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and jump into it. First of all, where have I been? Now, I've been here. I haven't stopped. I'm still here, I'm still kicking, I'm still alive. And I basically went through the worst computer trouble that I've ever had in my entire life. To put it into easy to explain words, I had a problem with my computer case, which sounds super easy to fix, but there was about 4 months worth of troubleshooting to get to that stage. And you see, in that time frame, there was a lot of failures and there was a lot of part replacements I had to do. So let me go ahead and break it down for you. So when it first broke, I thought it was my power supply. And so I was like, that's an easy fix. I'll just send my power supply back. I'll do an RMA request form and I'll get it sent back lickety split. Well, I get it back. I plug it up, ready to go. Didn't fix my problem. And so I'm like, well, okay, what else can I change? So I got to thinking about it and I'm like, well, there's really only one other thing that can cause a computer not to turn on, and if any of you are tech gurus out there, you'll know that this is any computer builder's worst nightmare, is that the motherboard had failed. And so I cut my losses and I said, okay, I'm going to RMA request this. So I requested to have it fixed, I sent it back, and I got a new one back. I did that 4 times. I had 4 motherboards break in a row that were brand new from the company that was shipping them to me, and I was royally upset. I really thought that the motherboards they were sending me were garbage. It was absolutely awful, and so I was like, you know what, fine, I'll just buy a new motherboard. And so I bought one that said that it would work with the Ryzen 7 2700X, which is the CPU that I'm running. And I plug it in, and I get going, and it turns on, and nothing happened. Like, my computer turned on, but it wouldn't display on the screen. And so I was like, well, that's half the problem fixed. So I know that it was the motherboard that was causing it not to turn on. And then I was like, well, what's causing it not to boot up? And so I called the motherboard manufacturers and they said that it was not compatible. And they told me to buy another motherboard. And just between you and me, this was also the same guy that told me to get this model of the motherboard. What an idiot! Bought the new one, stuck it in my computer, and turned it on. Had the same issue. It turned on, but this time there was something different. I noticed that there was an error code, like LED system, and it was lighting up on something called VGA, which meant display, and I knew that. And so I figured one of two things. My HDMI cable sucked, I needed a VGA cable, or my graphics card was broken. And I had been treating my graphics card very nicely throughout this whole process, and so I figured it wasn't that. Turns out it was, so I sent that back, and I borrowed, while it was gone, I borrowed one of my friend's 1050 Ti's and stuck it in my system with this motherboard, and it worked. It had finally worked. I'd gotten it boot back up, I'd gotten back to my desktop, Windows was working perfectly, and I began working on another video. Well, I had to do a Windows update because it had been like 5 months since I had obviously used this thing. And so I go through and I do the update. It turns back on and it wouldn't post. It wouldn't get past the stage where it tests your DRAM, which is your random access memory. And that's very important whenever it comes to actually dictating how your system will run. And so I figured, oh my gosh, it was just working, and then it wasn't. And so I was like, my RAM's broken. Oh my god, this is not cool. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna test it. So I went over to my friend's house. He lives about a block from my house, and that's a different friend, by the way. And I plugged my RAM into his system, and it worked just fine. And I was like, you've got to be joking. That meant that my motherboard that I currently had failed again. It failed again. I had to send that one back as well. and I had to wait another week for a new one to come back. And then it was at this point that I realized something else was going on. And so that's when I suspected that my case was having an issue. Now, it's a very rare issue, and it's called grounding. It can happen whenever the standoffs on your case break or they screw in wrong. And what ends up happening is the electricity that's coming out of your power supply can run through the motherboard into the case and can short circuit the motherboard. And that had happened multiple times, and that's why I was experiencing these problems. And I had looked all over the internet for a solution to this issue because I didn't know what was going on. I took it to a computer shop. They couldn't figure out what was going on, and it was a whole mess of stuff. But I finally got the new case. I built this thing back yesterday. It looks wonderful. It's working again, and I can't tell you how happy I am to be back. But yeah, that's pretty much the story, but there's a couple other things that we got to talk about today. So while I was gone, I was doing a lot of checking in on my channel. We grew like 15 subscribers in the time that I was gone, and I gained several thousand views. Okay, maybe not several thousand, close to about 1,000 views across my channel in the time I was gone, which kind of hurt my feelings because I was like, really? I try super upload a week, but the second I'm gone for multiple months, everybody watches my stuff. It was frustrating, but the point is that I'm actually starting to grow and I'm really liking it. And so with that, I think there needs to be more than just expansion on my accounts. There needs to be expansion on my channel and me as a person. And so here in the next few videos, I'm going to try to be more energetic. I'm going to try to put more effort into the videos, and you're going to notice a change for sure. It's going to be hecka exciting, dog. It's going to be super, super Gucci. And there's going to be a lot of stuff happening, so you guys don't want to miss that. So please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. While you're at it, why don't you share it on Facebook, share it on Tinder, swipe left, swipe right, tell everyone about me. Do it. You won't, because you ain't got no balls. You won't do it. And yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. One more thing I need to mention before I go ahead and end this video, because I'm going to try to keep it kind of short. I don't know how much of this is actually going to make it into the video, but I got another job because the job that I was working before as a waiter, I actually got fired from, and that's a funny story for another day. But I got fired from there, and I got rehired at a grocery store, and I work a lot more than I did at the other restaurant. And so I'm not going to have enough time to make all these videos. I don't know what I'm going to have to do. It's going to be tough. But the last thing I think I need to mention is that I actually graduate from high school in 2 weeks. 12 long years. It will be finally over in 2 weeks. And then I'll be off to college. But that's also a story for another time. But yeah, this is pretty much everything that's been happening. I'm glad you guys are still with me if you are, and thank you guys so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys being here. Without further ado, I guess I should go ahead and say, I guess I'll see you guys all in the next video. Alright, later dudes, bye-bye.